Hey, welcome to another episode of our Yes Golf Review. My name is Kevin, this is Jay. Hey, we just did a mid-handicapper showdown.
We did.
You guys shown a lot of interest in it, so we thought we would do low handicapper irons. So what do we got today?
So right now we have the P7CB from TaylorMade, and then we have the T150 from Titleist.
That's right, these two, and then the subsequent videos are we're all gonna test it from what we call, or these club makers call, the low handicapper. So these are probably gonna be your third set. It could be your last set, but I don't think so, because I know if you are interested in these kind of clubs, that chances are that you're a gearhead and you might want to get new stuff every now and then. But hopefully these are technically very similar, so we're gonna really nitpick the differences so that you can see the differences and make your choice on which one you will go with. So we'll start with the TaylorMade P7CB.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Yep.
There you go. Good shot. How did that first initial hit feel for you, Jay?
It was slightly mishit, I would say, but definitely feel all the reaction to it. I think this is what you're looking for in this category, is that you want instant feedback. You want to know where you hit it, you want to know what the misses were, and that helps you improve. So I definitely felt that. That was not in the center, which is exactly what you're looking for in these type of clubs.
Yes, great feedback is something that someone would look into. Go ahead and hit another one and we'll go into the Titleist. How did that one feel?
So that was just a little thin.
Just a little thin, okay.
But I got away with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're able to tell from those two shots.
Yes,
right?
I can definitely tell right off the bat that that was a little thin. The feedback is instant.
Yeah.
Surprisingly though, I got away with that. I mean, I think if that was a muscle back, it wouldn't have performed as such.
Yeah.
And there's probably a reason why, because there's a little bit of technology in this.
That's right. Yeah. So 7 iron and on, so up to I think 3 iron they come out to. There they have tungsten weighting, and there's a little bit of a cutout right at the point of impact.
Yeah.
So that allows for perimeter rating. So meaning you get more forgiveness on off-center hits.
Right.
So both of these, the Titleist and P7CB from TaylorMade, have the tungsten story in them, which will help golfers with miss hits.
Right.
Specifically something like this. So
yeah, but like one thing that I really do want to note, especially with the modern cavity backs, they're not just one piece of steel all the way throughout the set.
That's right.
Now companies have come up with the technology to kind of blend in with the longer irons, where I think everyone could get some help, right?
Yes.
And they've put in some technology from their other clubs to try to give you just a little bit more forgiveness or just a little bit more launch in the longer iron.
That's right. Yeah. So let's go into the Titleist T150.
Okay.
Ooh, that was a good hit, huh?
Yep.
Yep. So that one. And almost made it.
One of these days.
Yeah, I know. One of these days.
One of these days. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that one feel?
Yeah. So same thing. It's very responsive. Like you get all the feedback. You know exactly where you hit it. I mean, I can definitely tell that was a better strike compared to the P7CVs. But yeah, and this one, the Titleist has just a little thinner top line.
Okay.
You can notice it from the setup. Yeah, and this is much more closer to what I would think as a traditional CB. So CBs being just a little bit of a modification from the muscle backs.
Yes.
That's what I perceive as a CB.
Yeah.
Clearly, Titleist, this is a T150, so it's not their CB model. So given that, I think that it's still very closer to the better player iron, where the better players would want that thinner top line so that they can feel that they can work the ball left to right, right to left. Yeah.
For sure. And another difference between the P7CB and the T150 is that the top line is thinner on the Titleist, but the sole is just a little thinner on the
Yes.
P7CB.
On the CBs, yes.
That's right. So that's just a quick difference that we wanted to let you know that that was interesting to us. So
because the sole definitely has something to do with turf interaction, right?
Exactly.
The thinner the sole is, the better it's going to cut through. And also at the same time, if you have a thinner sole, you're not going to get that much launch if you don't hit it in the center of the face.
Right.
So there are those trade-offs, and it's a good factor to know when you're deciding which club you want to go with.
Right. All right. Nice little draw.
Yep.
There. Good shot.
Okay.
So let's go to P7CB. I think we need to give it a fair fight.
Fair fight, right? Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That one's well struck.
It was well struck. It's a nice little fade.
Yep.
Yep.
Can you definitely feel that?
Yeah, definitely. It felt a lot better than the first two strikes that I had with the TaylorMade. Yeah.
Yes.
It's definitely
And
more centered.
people would know, but better feel when it comes to iron like that. Would you describe it as something that's a little softer?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the distinctions, I think, get much more exaggerated when you have a center strike versus an off center strike.
That's right.
So if the more center you hit, it feels like nothing. It feels very, very soft. Whereas if you hit it just off the center, then you'll start feeling it way more than you'd feel it versus like a hollow body iron or any game improvement iron. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're talking about when we say feedback. The feedback is much more instant. It's much more exaggerated, so you know exactly where you hit and what happened with the shot. Yeah.
Yes. Ooh, good shot there. This one looks very similar to the second one that you struck with the T150.
Yeah, I was trying to play just a little draw there, and
it's doing it.
It works exactly as how I wanted it to go.
So there's a degree of difference between the loft of these two. The TaylorMade P7CB is 33 degrees on 7-iron, and T150 is 32 degrees. So we'll take a look at the data and take a look at the ball speed, the distance, and the peak height, and how that 1 degree of difference, if it makes a difference.
If it does, yeah.
If not. So that, to me, sounded just maybe a groove low.
Just a groove low, yeah. It was doable though.
So let's take a look. So the last two, you can tell you lost maybe 2 miles an hour of ball speed.
Yeah.
Launched just a bit
lower,
less spin. But I mean, I think this is the beauty of MB versus CB right there.
It has just that little bit of forgiveness.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
just a little bit of forgiveness. I know people who are looking at these are not looking for a ton of forgiveness. That's not the reason why they go for it. It's gonna be more for the feel.
Right.
But it's nice to know that there's just a little bit of more help.
Right. And especially with these clubs, when you get to this level, we're talking about strikes that we intentionally do to hit certain parts of the face. So like if you want to hit a draw, you know that you can hit it off the toe and you can have it turn over a little bit. If you want to try to take some off and hit a little fade, then you would kind of line it up on the heel and try to hit it on the heel so that you can get that spinner.
Yes.
So, forgiveness is good for non-intentional mishits. Whereas when we're talking about CBs, we still have that kind of room for intentional mishits or intentional hits on certain parts of the face.
That's right.
That helps us control the ball.
That's right. All right, perfect. Let's go back to T150. For some reason, when you're over the ball with the T150, you look a little bit more comfortable.
I do.
Your swing looks a little bit more comfortable. Do you know why, or do you feel that?
Honestly, I think it does have to do with the top line.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it is the top line that makes me, maybe you perceive it as me looking comfortable, but maybe it's me trying harder to hit the ball a lot more with more intention.
Got it.
Right, a little more focus.
Yes.
Because maybe the top line's thinner and I know I have to put in a little more effort to get 100% out of it. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. So let me give you this
Yeah.
side by side. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions. When you
Yeah.
look at it side by side, which one has a little bit more offset?
Offset, I would say the P7CB has just a little more offset,
Okay,
just a little more noticeable.
Got it.
And the thing is, it's noticeable because the neck or the face, where the grooves start closer to the hosel, it comes in more earlier than the Titleist.
So got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the groove is more closer to the hosel.
To the hosel, right? So the
Yes.
face actually starts a lot closer to the hosel.
Yeah.
So it looks like that curve is a little more indented for the offset.
How about the blade length?
Blade length, yeah. I mean, they're almost the same.
Almost
It's
the same.
really identical. Even the toe shape is so similar. It's not, one is not edged. It's just a full rounded circle on the toe side, and then on the top side, it's just it flows right into the hosel. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Cosmetic wise, that's pretty much it. If I do notice one thing, is that the finish of the face is different from these two clubs. So the Titleist has a lot more glare to it,
Okay.
and the TaylorMade is a lot more muted. So when I put it down by the ball, I could see the grooves a lot more clearly on the Titleist, on the T150, versus the P7CBs. They look a lot more muted. So it's a little darker face, so to speak. Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah. How was that one struck?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, it's very acceptable.
Okay. Yeah, those 4 shots with T150, they're probably a yard or two.
Just right on top of each
Yeah,
other.
right on top of each other. We know that this is going to be very subjective,
Yes.
right? But we're trying to point out the differences that
Right.
you feel as someone who's hitting the ball, and myself as someone who's observing it and seeing all the technical difficulties, and we're
Right.
trying to mash them together so that it's beneficial for our
Right, yeah.
viewers. Yeah. Man,
Try to hit a little draw there and
Okay.
perform
those
just
5
like I wanted
shots
to. Yeah.
with Titleist.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, so we're going to talk about some of the numbers.
Yeah.
But we're seeing that these numbers are very, very similar.
Yes.
So if you look at it, the ball speed is something that we just go right away
Yeah.
because that kind of dictates launch angle, spin, and everything else. So we see a mile, maybe 1 mile per hour difference.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's really not that much of a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The launch angle, P7CB is launching just a little bit. Spin rates right on top of each other. Descent angle, same.
Yeah.
Peak height, the same. Carry distance, a little bit of a difference
Yeah.
there with Titleist having maybe 2 more yards of carry.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out the fact, not when you look at it with the numbers like this, it looks like they're
It
the
looks
same.
like it's the same club,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But let's take a look at this one. So I think this shows a little bit better picture, especially this one right here.
Yeah.
As you can see, there was a little bit more consistency in the T150, and it's probably unfair to say that P7CB is not consistent.
Yeah.
But I think this is one good thing to note, that these CBs have, and this technology has gotten so good that consistency, you can get it from these irons, right? It's not just for MBs
No.
that you would look
No.
at those kind of consistency. A lot of people, a lot of traditional golfers don't entertain the thought of having multi-material irons because they think it will give them a jumper all of a sudden or give
Right.
them a hot spot.
Yeah.
But Titleist kind of just shows you that how consistent that is. And also on the other hand, P7CB shows how forgiving
Right.
it can be and how helpful that can be. Just from looking at these and from hitting all these shots, what did you feel would be the difference between the two?
Honestly, I think it really comes down to cosmetics. Like this is something that at this point in your golfing career, if you're at this level, you are really going to notice subtle things, and that those things are going to actually make or break your decision.
Yes.
Whether picking a certain club. And I think that the differences in the appearance, the cosmetics, is something that really stands out, that these two are very different. Even though the results look like I just hit one club throughout the entire set, but the cosmetics, right? And that's what, for a lot of players, it instills confidence, right? So whether if it's the thin top line that you're looking for that gives you the confidence to work the ball, or whether if it's just that little thicker top line, or whether if it's the finish, you like a brighter finish, you like a darker finish. Again, we talked about how the hosel was shaped. Subtle things like that. I think those are the things that will actually be a big factor in deciding which club you're going to go with.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because from these two, from look of it, there's a very minimal difference, and yet the confidence it gave, one club gave you other than the other, was just very different, and it produced a result that was very different. So hopefully this was helpful for you. We have another one of these coming. It's going to be the Mizuno Pro 243 versus the Ping Blueprint S irons. That's going to be a pretty fun one. So make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on our next video. Bye.
See ya.